If you're a first-time cruiser but you don't want to sound like a first-time cruiser, then this video is for you. When you first set foot on the ship, it's like there's a whole new language, and the sooner you become fluent in cruise talk, the less confusing your cruise is going to be. Let's start with the basics. The front of the ship is called the bow. Now, an easy way to remember this is just to remember that when you take a bow, your body bends to the front. The back of the ship is called the stern. As you're facing the bow, the left side of the ship is the port side, while the right side is called the starboard side. A trick to remember this is that the words port and left both have 4 letters. Now, port is not to be confused with port of call. A port of call is simply a place your ship is visiting during your cruise. You can also say that the front of the ship is the fore and the back of the ship is the aft. The middle part of the ship is midship. A tall building may have different floors, but a cruise ship doesn't have floors. It has decks. In most cases, these decks have names, and those names may vary from cruise line to cruise line. However, in most cases, the Lido deck is where the outdoor pools are. Also, you'll look like a beginner if you ask someone where your room is. On a ship, it's called a stateroom or cabin. See? Now if you're lost on the ship and they tell you that your stateroom is on deck 9, port aft, you'll know where to go, right? The person who takes care of your stateroom isn't the maid, the butler, or the housekeeper. They're called the stateroom steward. Oh, and do you see that big long thing on the front of the ship right there? That's called the bridge. This is where the captain and officers do what they do to make sure your ship gets to where it needs to be. If you're finding this video helpful or entertaining, I hope you'll consider clicking on that thumbs up icon and giving this video a like. Whether you're new to cruising or not, you might be interested in some of the other cruise videos I've put together for you. I also do videos on strange, fun, and quirky places all over the United States. If either or both of those topics interest you, please subscribe to the Backroads Tourist channel. I'd love to have you as part of the family. Now, there is one thing you should never, ever, ever say on a cruise ship. Never, ever, ever, ever refer to the ship as a boat. It's somewhat derogatory and it's going to rub some people the wrong way. It is acceptable to call the lifeboats boats, though. However, those lifeboats often serve a second purpose. If you're stopping at a port of call where it's impossible for your ship to pull up to the dock, you're going to be put on one of those boats and taken to the dock. In that case, these boats are called tenders. So if you've ever heard the phrase that you may need to tender into a certain port, now you know what that means. If you're at a port of call, whether you've tendered in or not, and you're going on an organized tour or activity, that's called an excursion. The kitchen is called the galley, and although it goes against something I just told you, room service is still just room service, not stateroom service. All right, fellow cruisers, before I go, I want to tell you just one more thing that might just blow your mind. Take a look at these 3 words. You might come across them when you're cruising. Now, you may think that these words are pronounced key, K, and quay, but actually, these words are all pronounced the same. Key, K-E-Y, is an accepted alternate spelling of key, C-A-Y, which is the name for a small, low island, usually sandy, situated on a coral reef platform. For instance, the Florida Keys. Q-U-A-Y is also pronounced key and is a concrete, stone, or metal platform alongside or projecting into water for loading and unloading ships. So practice these nautical terms and you'll be speaking like a seasoned cruiser in no time. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jeff, and I'll see you midship on the Lido deck.